Now, it is my honor to introduce our presenter for the evening, Dr. Tomekia Luckett. Dr. Luckett is an experienced nurse and nurse educator. She has served as an educator in a variety of nursing education programs for licensed practical nursing through doctoral. Dr. Luckett is well equipped and knowledgeable of the social, scientific, and educational changes of today and tomorrow. She currently serves on the M&A board as director of the Council on Nursing Education. She earned an associate's degree from Southwest Mississippi Community College, a bachelor's and master's degrees from William Carey University, and a doctor of philosophy degree in nursing leadership from the University of Southern Mississippi. She is an assistant professor of nursing at William Carey University and has been the recipient of numerous awards and recognitions throughout her tenure in nursing and nursing education. Her illustrious nursing career has mixed clinical, education, and administration. And I think, again, the information that she is going to provide this evening is going to be so needed. And I cannot thank you enough, Dr. Luckett, for taking time from your busy schedule for joining us. I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Teresa. It's always a pleasure to share with Mississippi nurses as well as our first responders, especially amidst so much uncertainty with COVID. So for tonight's presentation, I'll be sharing with you some pearls to help you keep calm amidst everything that's going on. So the first thing I want to do is to talk about where we are a little bit and what's going on. So, of course, we all know that we are greater than 1 year into our COVID crisis. And with this crisis, our nurses, our first responders, and our frontline workers have all expressed high levels of exhaustion related to emotional tension and on-the-job stress. A number of research studies have been conducted since the inception of COVID, and what the findings were, a lot of times nurses and first responders have indicated that their levels of stress are higher than they have ever been, which has resulted in a lot of off-the-job consumption of alcohol because individuals are looking for ways to cope. And then 1 in 9 nurses reported high levels of exhaustion and a desire to leave the field. And so what we do know is that there are real issues related to exhaustion, stress, and emotional turmoil that is being experienced by our nurses and first responders. And one of the things we have to be aware of in order to correct any issue is what the root of the issue is. And then once we figure out what the root is, what can we do to make it better? Okay, so one of the things I want you to do, and this isn't for me, this is for you. I want you to take a moment and look at this stress scale, because a lot of times we're so busy assessing and evaluating others, we forget to evaluate and assess where we actually are. And you might be surprised when you actually look at this numeric scale where you actually fall. So rate your stress on a level of 10-point scale, with 10 being the highest level of stress and 1 being no stress. So I want you to think of 0 as being no stress at all, and 10 is an extreme level of stress. So I want you to rate your scale, and this is not something you'll do for me that you have to turn in, but this is for you. And if you discover that you feel like you're stressed, I want you to jot down on a piece of paper now or at a later time what is causing you to be stressed. And at the end of the activity, I'll have you do something with those papers. So the instructions are, number 1, to evaluate where you are on this 10-point scale related to your personal stress level, because I want you to think about how you really are doing, amidst the COVID crisis. So much uncertainty as we have Delta variant now. There's a Lambda variant, lots of concerns over vaccination and efficacy rates. And so I want you to think about where you really are. And then if you do decide or determine that you are experiencing stress, I want you to jot down what is causing your stress at this point. And then we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Okay, so Here's 7 pearls for nurses and first responders. And this is a treasure chest. Pearls are actually a beautiful piece of jewelry, but you know that in order to get to a pearl, oftentimes you have to go through a messy process. And so I want to leave you with some tips that will hopefully help you alleviate stress in the coming months. So, number one, it is okay to not be okay. You know, we have experienced worldwide a little bit over 1 million deaths related to COVID-19 in the last year. As nurses and first responders, we are the first ones to be there for persons who are unresponsive. We're also having to deal with our own family issues and the issues that are experienced by those who work with us on a day-to-day level. So it's okay for Superman to take off his cape and sometimes be Clark Kent. It's okay to admit that you are not okay. And whatever that looks like for you, it may look like needing counseling. It may look like needing to step away from things for a moment. So it's okay to acknowledge if you do your assessment and you do determine that you are experiencing moderate to severe levels of stress, it's okay. I mean, we've had some shocking things to occur. I can recall when the pandemic initially started in China, and I thought, man, that's so bizarre seeing those people over there wearing their mask in the grocery store and in public places. And I was almost thinking, like, well, why are they doing such things? And, you know, the pandemic had not yet reached here, but this has become a way of life for each of us. We've all been impacted, and we don't know the future impact of what will happen as we see that the rates within our state are continuing to trend upward. So in all of that, it is okay literally to not be okay. Number two, take a break. Social media. You know, I know we're all tech savvy and we're a technological driven society. And one of the ways we communicate with the outside world is through social media. We utilize Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We are inundated with so much information on a day-to-day basis. But y'all, it can actually become overwhelming when you begin to be bombarded with so much information until you just need a break. And unfortunately, some of the media outlets, some of the information that's on social media, we know that that information is actually misinformation. And so that becomes overwhelming trying to weed through what's true versus what's not true and trying to help our constituents who are not in the medical field to understand the seriousness of this crisis. So there may be times where you literally have to shut down Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, even the news. You may have to take a break from even watching the daily news. And I know you might say, well, if I don't watch, how will I know what's going on? Well, you can have, a policy where you only take a break for just a day. You will be amazed at even how one day off of social media and being bombarded with so much information can actually help you. Y'all, I take these breaks quite often. I'm actually on a social media break right now. For the next probably 3 or 4 weeks, I decided I was going to take 30 days off social media because sometimes you really do need a break from being inundated with so much information, and it does become overwhelming. Number 3, self-care is not selfish. So my question is, what do you enjoy doing? What do you like doing? Do you enjoy reading? What are some activities that you can safely do while wearing your mask and social distancing? Think about things that are happening now. You know, you may want to plant a garden. You know, for me, that wouldn't be something per se that would be self-care for me, because for me, when I think of gardening, that would be work, but some people find it very relaxing. I enjoy reading books. That's the way that I love to relax. Funny movie, just taking a walk. There's so many things you can do, but you've got to take time to make time for self-care. You know, we're so busy making sure that everybody else is all right. We spend our days taking care of others who are in need of our help. And then when we come home, our family responsibilities do not end. And so what's left by the wayside is our self-care. And a lot of times we forget about the importance of simply taking some time for me time. Go and get a pedicure, go and get a manicure, whatever you have to do to relax and refresh. Your mind will later thank you for it. Number four, protect your peace at all costs. You will find that there are a lot of, as misinformation is being spread, especially on news media and social media outlets. You will find oftentimes that people will draw you into arguments. I've had people who are not healthcare professionals who will post statuses and they'll say something very controversial related to vaccinations or not being vaccinated. And then they'll tag me into this stuff and say, well, what do you think? And in those instances, you have to be the person that says, I'm not going to be drawn into this, because a lot of times this is a waste of your peace. This is a waste of your energy that you exert trying to win hopeless arguments. And so you have to protect your peace at all costs. Even if that means stepping away, being the bigger person, especially with us being first responders and nurses. A lot of times people do look for our opinions and they value our opinions, but yet they already have their mind made up. And so when our opinion is different from what they want to hear, a lot of times they will draw you into some type of debate or some type of discussion, and you will find that trickles over into your life outside of work. And so you have to protect your peace at all costs. Number five, smile. Yes, it is that simple. Do you know that it takes more muscles to frown than to smile? And I know you're thinking, well, do I smile even with my mask on? And I say absolutely yes, because people may not be able to see your smile, but they can hear the smile in your voice. They can hear the kindness in your voice. The same way that each of us has been in this pandemic for the last year and a half almost, our friends, our family, our loved ones, those who are in our communities, they have been in this pandemic too. Everybody is stressed. Everybody's overwhelmed. Everybody has been impacted in one way or another. And so we have to remember that your smile really does go a long way. You will be amazed at how your smile can just simply impact someone's day for the positive. So you definitely want to take time to simply smile at someone, even with your mask on. Number six, pick your battles. And this kind of goes along with things that we've been talking about. Again, how people will try to draw you into some of these senseless debates. Now, I think as healthcare providers, nurses, first responders, we do have some responsibility to educate the public and to make sure we do our part to protect consumers and to make sure we're doing our part to see that information that's falsely being shared, that we do educate our friends, family, and loved ones. But you want to pick your battles, again, because people will ask for your opinion when they already know what they plan to do. And so in those instances, you want to make sure that you aren't just being in senseless, meaningless arguments with people, especially on social media, because you do see a lot of that happening nowadays, especially there are some people who feel very strong opinions about being vaccinated, and there are some who feel very strong about remaining unvaccinated. So you definitely want to take time to make sure that you're doing your part to pick your battles. And then the last one is really big, and I say be kind. Kind without expectation. There's enough meanness in the world. There's enough hurt. There's enough sorrow. You never know what the person next to you, even in line at the grocery store, is going through. I want to share a quick story that happened to me a few weeks ago. So a few weeks ago, I made a stop at Walgreens, not expecting anything extraordinary. And I was in line to purchase my items, and I noticed the cashier taking a few moments longer with the individual who was in line ahead of me. And so I waited, and the individual still didn't check out. And eventually I saw the young lady moved to the side of the line. And so it was in that moment I realized that she didn't have enough money or any money to pay for her items. And so as I began to look, just glance up and see what it was, I noticed some diapers for a baby, a very small baby, from what I could see, and a few more items. It wasn't anything lavish. It was all necessities. And so the checkout bill wasn't very much. It wasn't even $25. And so I just said, well, just I'll swipe it. I'll take care of it. I'll pay for it. And that young lady was actually moved to tears. I do not know what her situation was, and it actually doesn't matter. But you would be amazed at how one act of kindness, one act of paying it forward could really mean so much to someone. Now, that happened a few weeks ago where I just did a random act of kindness. Kindness always has a way of boomeranging and coming back. And so earlier today, I was in line at a store and I had checked out, and I realized after, looking in my cart that I had one thing, a can of something that I did not pay for. And so I asked the cashier, I said, did I pay for this? And she said, look at your receipt. And I glanced at the receipt. No, it wasn't on there. And I didn't pay for it. And so the guy, I would have had to go back and wait in line again to pay for it. And the guy who was in line behind me said, no, no need for that. I'll take care of it. Now, it was only one canned good, one little item, probably cost a couple bucks. But it was a simple act of kindness that I feel like was repaid to me that really made my day. So many people are going through so much, y'all, right now. You would literally be amazed at how just one kind expression, one smile, one have a good day, one thank you, one simple how are you doing would make someone's day. So be kind to others in the midst of everything that we're going through, because it could truly make someone's day. Now, I talked about how I wanted you to jot down whatever is stressing you, whatever your stressors are, jot them down on a piece of paper. Now, a lot of us, like myself, we're visual people, so we have to see what we're actually doing. So I wanted you to jot down those stressors, because at the end of this, which is now, I want you to do something. Whatever you jotted down and you wrote down as your stressors, I want you to take that piece of paper and I want you to ball it up. And if you have a shoebox, a trash can, whatever you have, I want you to put that in the trash can. I want you to put it in the trash can and leave it there. So when that stressor tries to come to you tomorrow and you say, will we have enough help? Will we have enough beds for everybody? When those stressors try to come home with you and you find yourself becoming stressed out, I want you to reflect back to, nope, I put that in the garbage can. I'm not stressing about that today. I'm going to be patient with myself. I'm going to be patient with others, and today will be a good day. You will be amazed at just how positive words, even to yourself, can brighten your day. And so again, I want you to throw those stressors away. I want you to take some time for you. I want you to take some time to step away from things and just reflect and relax and release. And again, my name is Dr. Tomekia Luckett. It has been a pleasure presenting this information to you all. And now I believe we have some time for some question and answer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Luckett, for just an amazing presentation. I had posted in the chat for people to feel free to include what they enjoy, what helps them to relieve stress. And I'm going to read you one of the comments, and everyone else, please feel free. You still have time to put your comments in the chat. But this person said, I find that spending time with my spouse, children, and reading my Bible helps to give me peace, especially after dealing with so many people in my workplace that have so much negative input about COVID, vaccinations, and mask mandates. So I think that, as you said, everyone has their own way of relieving stress. Everyone has their own things that they enjoy. And I think it's very important that we find those. I do have a question that came to my cell phone. And this person would like to know, what are the 3 top things that you do, Dr. Luckett, to find peace?
I will say for me, I will say first off that I am a believer. I'm a Christian. And so my faith is a very important part for me of everything I do. And that I do know that that's not the case for some, but for me, that's a big part of what I do. So one of the three things that I do is number one, I spend a lot of time praying. And so because of that prayer time, it helps me to trust that in all things, God will work together for my good. That is Philippians 4:13. So that means I don't allow myself to get overwhelmed with what I see. I focus on what God has said. That's number one. Number two, I like just simple things like to read a book. That helps me so much to relieve stress. And I've always been a person that enjoyed reading because for me, when I read, it allows me to escape because I imagine myself in whatever book I'm reading or whatever article. And so I actually put myself there and it gives me an escape away from what I see. And then the last thing I enjoy doing, I'm a very girly girl. So shopping, pedicure, manicure, anything that I can do girly girl wise, those things help me relieve stress. So those are my top three things that I would say help me a lot to alleviate stress.
Thank you so much. We have another question, and this was posed by the M&A president of the board, Dr. Tanya Moore. And I want to read her comment. Great nuggets you shared, Dr. Luckett. How do you recommend employers to support frontline workers? I'm sorry, y'all, because the chat moved. I lost her. I'm so sorry. Support frontline nurses and other healthcare providers during this time.
I think it starts, first of all, with the acknowledgement that we have a real situation with real issues that are foreign to many of us because although we have seen the pandemic before in 2020 and it's trickling into 2021, we're seeing things that we haven't seen before as far as with the new variants. So I think it's important, first of all, for healthcare organizations to recognize that we do have real issues. That's number one. I think number two, they need to support their nurses by making sure that even amidst the crisis of having enough workers and needing healthcare workers to be in place, I think there is also the acknowledgement that there should be some type of mandate or some type of time off that's allotted for these professionals just to make sure they're getting their time in for self-care. Also, whatever they can do within their budgetary constraints, even simple things like just buying everybody a pizza or a cup of coffee. You would be amazed at how far just simple acts of kindness and appreciation would go. And so I would say those are my three nuggets that healthcare organizations can try to do to help nurses and first responders and healthcare workers to feel appreciated and to help meet their needs that are going on right now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I want to read you a couple other comments that are in the chat. We have one person that says, walk by faith, not by sight. Another one, great presentation. Prayer and meditation is always relaxing. Enjoying family and nature are also relaxing. Thank you so much for the presentation, Dr. Luckett. I am finding starting the day with quiet and praying for others. I try to read a different book when I have downtime. Thank you, Dr. Luckett. Great response. That was again from our president, Dr. Tanya Moore. We are right up on our time frame, but I want to thank all of you for participating this evening. And I think you can tell that I was right on target when I said that tonight's presentation was something that everyone needs right now. So again, please remember that this is recorded. It is available on the M&A website. So if some of your colleagues could not attend, I think this would be an excellent recording for them to go back and listen to. And I am so sorry, I missed one of the comments in the chat. It says, thank you, calling my siblings and sharing our lives. I think that's a great way to relax. And certainly we all need to be doing that. But please remember that this is recorded. Encourage your colleagues to take the time to listen to this. I think so many of the things that Dr. Luckett mentioned, especially just those simple acts of kindness. Everyone can do that. Every single day, you can find a way to impact someone's life. Thank you all. Thank you all for what you're doing. We know you're exhausted. We commend you for fighting, keeping on, taking care of the patients in our state. Our first responders and our nurses are absolutely amazing. And again, Dr. Luckett, thank you so much for presenting this evening. To all of you, have a wonderful evening, and most importantly, stay safe. Thank y'all.
Thank you.